Hello dear friends, I am very happy to share with you this workshop. I thank very much the Voice Foundation for the acceptation of this workshop. I am very happy to celebrate with you all this 50 years anniversary of the Voice Foundation. As you know, we have been dealing 2020 and 2021 with this great problem of the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 with the disease COVID-19. As you know, we have several problems with this COVID-19. This coronavirus goes mainly to the respiratory system, but also to digestive system. So we have two systems that are very important for our voice production that have been affected by the inflammation of the SARS-CoV-2. As we know, the SARS-CoV-2 can affect the nose, the sinuses, the pharynx and the larynx, and of course the lungs. But also, if the SARS-CoV-2 affects the esophagus, stomach and gut, we shall have also reflux problems and also problems with colitis. That means if we don't have everything okay in our abdomen, we can have problems with our diaphragm. As we know, the respiratory system has a big inspiratory muscle that is the diaphragm. And also there are many muscles in the ribs, in the column, and also in the abdomen and thorax in general, that are going to help to the voice production, mainly in the exhalation of breathing. If we want to have a very good diagnosis how is the voice production after COVID-19, it's important to have not only the examination of the larynx, but also the examination of the nose, the sinuses with scanner, and also we need a spirometry and a tomography or scan from the lungs. That means we have to have a very good diagnosis in order to make our therapy for voice production after COVID-19 with a very functional approach. It is important to have the measurements of the inhalation and of the exhalation of air. If we have these measurements, we can understand why do we need to make some respiratory exercises in order to have more and more support in our breathing. As we know, for the voice production, we need to have a very good inhalation in order that the diaphragm can go downwards, and also in order that our lungs can make a broad movement in the basement of the lungs. So our respiratory system has to be affected by COVID-19. So we need to make a support and practice all these breathing exercises. As you know, for example, if we have one hand in the front and one in the rear near our column, we can have the correct breathing with a correct inhalation through the nose, like this. And then exhalation as long as possible, mainly 10 seconds. And have our side muscles, our front muscles and our back muscles in a very steady situation that we can make the apoyo or the support. We have also to have our knees in a flexible way, not very rigid like I do now, but in a very comfortable way to have it. Of course, all these exercises can be done with a sitting position and also with a lying position. But I am going to explain to you and to practice with an outstand position, a standing position. So, for inspiration or for inhalation, there are several inspirometers like these ones that you have here. So it's 600 cubic centimeter, 900 cubic centimeter, and 1200 cubic centimeters. That means if you have the 3 balls in the upper position, that means you have a lot of pressure in the basement of your lungs, and your diaphragm can be down in the downward position in a very good way. For example, I make through my mouth, take the inhalation, and in the inhalation the balls have to go up like this. And as you see, sometimes we need more practice in order to have enough pressure to go the 3 balls in the upper position. So the first is only to practice slowly and with some rest in the breathing, because otherwise if we do it very quickly we can have a problem with CO2. Take a rest. The rest is very important in order not to hyperventilate. Another way. And when you have the balls after some minutes of practice, if you can have them in the upper position, then you can stay there with pressure on your abdomen and on your side muscles and on your back muscles until you cannot have any more pressure. Like, for example, like this. Well, I don't have so much pressure, so I have to practice more. Like this. Take a rest. And like this. And of course you can measure your time, because as we show in this workshop, you have to be careful with your time. Of course, if you wish, you can have more time, but it is not necessary, because you need to do all the routines 3 times a day. So you have a correct standing position, then you have your inhalation, and then you stay with pressure as long as you can. As you see, I do not have so much pressure. I have a little bit more, like 2 seconds, and then I take a rest. Respiratory rest in all the respiratory exercises is very important. Another way of making inspiration, but not only with inspiration but also with exhalation, is to have this kind of equipment that you get it in every drugstore. So you have different levels here, like for example you have 100 cc, 150 and so on. So we put it also in our mouth. We take a correct inhalation all the time, thinking on the basement of our lungs and our diaphragm. So, and having the inhalation through the nose without making effort with our neck or our shoulders. and then we make a big and very quickly exhalation, and then we measure. I made it 200 cc. So we make another exhalation, we bring the needle to the bottom, we take our correct breathing, inhalation correctly, and then we have a big exhalation, quickly and very strong. And I made more 250. Another way. Okay, so now I make 300. So if you are having your inhalation through the inspirometer and your exhalation through this flowmeter, then you can have both sides of the breathing in a short way, but with a lot of pressure with your inspirometer, and in a very short but long way and strong with this flowmeter. So our next breathing exercise is also to have some pressure in our waist, because if we can have, for example, this kind of item, this is wonderful because it's strong and it is very broad. So you can put it here on your waist, and also you may put it in your belly and then make like this in order to have a little bit tight. That means when I have this belt, I can also put my hands like this in the back muscles, in the side muscles, and in the front muscles, and then we can do our breathing. Don't forget to have a correct stand position, comfortable. It can be like this, like this, like this, but you have to have this kind of support, like making this kind of movement. So we make an inhalation through the nose, thinking only on the basement of the lungs, on the diaphragm. And when we make the exhalation, it's going to be through our mouth, pronouncing like F in this way. Take care of the sides, and do not forget you need to have a comfortable position, but of course everything has to be relaxed in your neck, in your face, in your shoulder, and a correct posture for your column. What is the belt going to do? It's going to give you more and more conscious that how are you moving your muscles in the front, in the side, and in the back during inhalation and during exhalation. During inhalation, at least you need to have 10 seconds of the exhalation of your air, making this kind of sound. Why are we making this kind of sound with our breathing exercises? Because, as we know, we are occluding our mouth, and then we are making a pressure, and that's why it's a semi-occluded technique. For example, like this. And then we can put some sound, but with S, like making a very nice noise. So don't forget that your belt has to be a little tight in order to have more conscience in the movements by breathing. Also, your belt can be used by many other voice exercises. For example, when you are doing with the vowels like this, in a very comfortable middle tone with a middle loudness like this. Don't forget to have a complete relaxation of your face, and don't forget you have to open your mouth so comfortable and relaxed as possible. For example, when you are ready with this kind of exercises, you can go to the other exercises that are more exhalation exercises with different kind of items. For example, we can do it with a balloon where we are going to support our pressure in the lips without making a lot of effort. This is important. So you make your inhalation, as we said, and you sustain your exhalation. That makes a pressure in your diaphragm and also in the intercostal, in the ribs muscles and in the back muscles and in the front muscles. You have to be careful because, as we know, we are having a very strength force in our larynx and of course in our muscles, our breathing muscles. So again, you make an inhalation and you sustain that the balloon cannot be blast like usually we do by birthday parties, but only to sustain the pressure of the rubber against your air in the exhalation, like this. And don't forget that the pressure has to be here, not here. Here you are only sustaining, but your air is coming to the balloon and sustaining the pressure of your air. And it is very good if you can write down how many seconds, or somebody that can help you, somebody say how many seconds did you support this pressure. But you have to be careful because you can also have some hyperventilation if you are not careful. That means the effort has to be in the moment of the exercise, and then you have to relax with a regular breathing. Okay, the next is to use some items like this one that I like very much. You take an inhalation, as always. Don't forget to stand comfortably and don't forget to sit also in a comfortable way. So you take an inhalation. So you have here with this item, you have the possibility to have the pressure in this small balloon, and to say and to see as much as possible how are you sustaining the air. Again. So we can do it with oo, like I made it, and then we can do it with air only. Do not forget that these exercises are really comfortable, but if you are in a hurry and you want to do them quickly, it doesn't help at all and it can bring you some problems. So try to remember that this routine after COVID-19 has the main idea and the focus on having again all our system ready for a good voice production. Another item that we have is like this one. So we have again our posture, our shoulders have to be relaxed, our neck, our head. Don't forget that the head and the neck needs to have this angle. Not like this, not like this. It has to be comfortable and it has to be in this angle. We make an inhalation. And as you see, sometimes the air is not correct, so you have to practice again. It was very quickly, so you can do it quickly and count the seconds that you need, but also you may do it very slowly in the exhalation, just like this. Also, you can do it with vowels, like this. So it's like a very close oo. Okay? And then, of course, you need to drink some water like I do. It's very important, if you have a nebulizer, that you do before all this routine and after the routine, you make a nebulization with warm, low warm water. This is important in order to have a proper temperature in our larynx and of course the correct humidity. But also during the exercises that we are advising 20 minutes 3 times a day if possible, you have to drink low warm water, not cold, not in the temperature of the room, but low warm. You may also drink some tea, but you have to be careful because, for example, black tea or camel tea, Earl Grey tea, they can dry a little bit your larynx, so it is not a good thing to have a dry larynx before the exercises. So that's why I made the suggestion to you to try only low warm water. So the next thing that we are going to do is about our movements. So we can do the movements, yes, just like this. For example, we have the inhalation with a comfortable position of our knees and our legs. When you are bending your thorax to the abdomen, you are making more pressure on your abdominal wall muscles. And this is important, so you have to move very slowly in order to have a proper air column that can be as long as possible. But remember, you are making some exercises in order to make the basement of the lungs, the low third of the lungs, to make it wider, and also to help your diaphragm to make a proper movement by inhalation. And by exhalation, you are helping yourself with the abdominal wall muscles, the costal muscles, and the back muscles. So, again, the inhalation. So what happened in this position? In this position, you have your knees bending a little bit, and because you are making this movement, you are making more pressure in your abdominal wall muscles, and of course the diaphragm has to go upwards when you make the exhalation. But do not forget to make also pressure in the back muscles. So again, it has to be like this: inhalation, and look at the head, it has to go down, and also your body. Don't make like that, because you are having your muscles in a very tight and uncomfortable position. So don't forget, you are like a building. So you have a very good support with your knees and of course all your bone system, and you have to stand correctly, a little bit with the legs separate in a comfortable way, and you have to think you are like a doll or like a monkey, and you can make like this in a relaxed position. It doesn't matter that your hair come also to your face, but you are making your breathing exercises after COVID-19 in a proper way. Another thing, another exercise with movements is like this. You make inhalation, and then you are like making some spring movements, like I will tell you now. So you are making more force in a stronger way of your legs, and of course that brings to your abdominal walls muscles more pressure also, and because the thorax is relaxed, is helping also to have a proper management of your air column. Do not forget, these are very simple exercises, but they will help you to have again the support for your air column that you need in your voice production. So another thing is on the sides. If you make your inhalation properly, please take care of the angle here, of the arm, very relaxed, the shoulder down, and you are making pressure on this side, because we are making pressure on this side muscles. We can do the other side also, inhalation. So this is important. If you are having somebody to assist you, another person can have in a very tight position both hands on the back muscles. You cannot do it like yourself alone, because you are going to have incorrect posture, but somebody can help you. And then if you have this, just think that somebody is helping me here. So I would take my inhalation, and I go slightly and very, very slowly to the hands of the other persons. Of course, the other person's hand has to stand very, very tight in order that we do not go and have an accident. So it is to make an effort with the hands of the other persons. When you are alone, you cannot do that. So we are now going to use the therapeutical band for your exercises. So there are different bands, and I recommend you to begin with a very, very low density therapeutical band. So you can make in different ways these movements. This is also for our breathing support, and also we shall need that for the voice exercises that we are going to do after the breathing exercises. So you take your inhalation, if you look at me carefully, your arms have to be a little bit bent because you are supporting the therapeutical band, and you are trying to make some pressure with your hands outwards, but at the same time you are feeling your side muscles when you are making an exhalation. So during inhalation you feel that because you are going to force the band. And then of course you can do it also with vowels, like this. So you are feeling, as you see, that the arm is completely feeling the side muscles. So when you inhalate, you make an inhalation, these muscles move sidewards to the arm, and because the arm is closed, as you see here, and then you have this force, the pressure helps you also for the exhalation. So you can do it like that with our therapeutical band. When you are, usually these bands sometimes come commercially in 3 different densities. If not, just buy one low density. This, for example, is a little bit harder because the density is higher than the other one. So with this one we shall do another exercise like this. We put it like this with our hands. All the time our arm has to be with this angle and has to be close to the side wall muscles. You make an inhalation and then you begin to move, making force here, but without making any movement in the arm. Okay? So it's the same movement with the movement of the head, but you come to the standing position without making the legs very rigid. You have to analyze your posture and not to forget that the legs cannot be rigid like that. They have to be in a comfortable position. It doesn't matter if one is to the front and the other to the rear, but all the time have to be comfortable. So you make also this movement with the vowels or only with the breathing. And then again you have to take a little bit of water. Our next exercise is humming. The humming, we can do it again with our therapeutical band and also with movements. So if we have our band and we want to do some humming, and so this is like this. Don't forget, the arms are helping to the pressure. Not only that you feel the pressure, but also as a referent for the posture. It's very important because sometimes we do like that when we inhalate, or we do like this when we have the exhalation. We put the belly outwards and we have not the right position. Also, you can do it with movements like this. Another situation that we can do is with a long band, we can make like this. This is more difficult because we don't have the referent here, but we do have the pressure on the hands. Then humming. Inhalation. Humming. If you are in a sitting position, there are also some other movements that you can do. For example, you can take a correct chair where your legs are and your feet are completely with a good standing on the floor, and then you have your therapeutical band and you just make like this. You have to pull outside your band to have your arms again near your side muscles and to have this movement. And do not forget, please, the head. This is like a one structure, not like this, not like this, or not like robots. We have to think this as a unity. With humming, with vowels, and this is very important because you have the movements in another position. But please, if you cannot stand, try to find the best chair for a good sitting position with your hips exactly at the rear of the chair. The chair has to be like this with a right angle, and of course your legs, your knees and your feet have to be in a very proper sitting position, because if you are like that, or you are like that, or you are like that, is not a good support. You have to be with your 2 feet correctly on the floor. So the next exercises, we are going to use some music in order to make flexibility of our voice production, mainly our vocal cords, and then we shall have some not only legato but staccato in triads and also in arpeggios, and we are going to make flexibility in pianissimi, crescendi, diminuendi, glissandi, and of course after that we shall have our placement exercises. Thank you for this first part.